What if I told you that one apparel company turned just $500 in ad spend into $250 million in sales? This sounds kind of impossible or crazy, right? But that's exactly what True Classic did. So we're going to talk about the simple yet powerful marketing moves that helped them grow from a scrappy D to C startup into one of the fastest scaling apparel brands really in the last decade. And here's why you want to stick around for these, because these aren't just cool ad tricks. They're actually repeatable for your own brand. They're frameworks that you can apply in your marketing across really any industry, because the ad principles, the marketing principles apply across the board. So whether you're a marketing leader at a B2B company, or you're running your own e-commerce store, or building an in-house creative team, we're going to jump into this today. So we're going to talk about how emotional storytelling can drive conversions and make ads unforgettable. In fact, now that I say that, I realize I'm wearing a True Classic shirt right now. That was unintentional, but hey, this is good. We're also going to talk about why humor, relatability, and raw authenticity beat big, polished budgets every single time. And then plus what B2B marketers can learn from True Classic's playbook, even if you're not selling t-shirts or other apparel. So these lessons are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So let's get into it. Okay, so there's a reason why the best performing ads aren't necessarily the flashiest ones. They're the ones that make you feel something, and the data proves it. Ads that tap into emotional storytelling convert up to 30% higher than those that don't have it. Now, let's break this down even further, because what emotional really means in marketing is something to consider, because it's not just about making people cry on command, it's about making them care. So for True Classic, that emotional trigger is relatability. One of their most viral ads is painfully real. A guy looks in the mirror, he's frustrated, and says, "Man, I look fat in every shirt I own." And his buddy fires back instantly. "It's not you, it's the shirt." That's it. Simple, funny, but also deeply emotional and relatable, because it touches on body confidence, something that almost every guy has struggled with at some point. I'm one of them. There are certain shirts that look good on me and others that don't, and it's all over the place. So notice what they did here. They didn't just try to fix the guy, they fixed the shirt. They shifted the blame from the customer to the product. They didn't make it about health and fitness, they made it about the apparel. And that's how you take an everyday frustration and turn it into a conversion moment. So here's the takeaway. You got to use some humor, sure, to lower defenses, and then use relatability to open the door. The emotional aha moment doesn't just have to be dramatic, it has to be true and honest. Another genius move from True Classic is how they built a voice that feels like a friend talking to you, not just a brand shouting out buzzwords or catchphrases. Their ads are casual, conversational, and sometimes even a little self-deprecating. And that's really intentional, because think about it. Would you rather hear, "Our premium cotton blend is optimized for male body shapes," or "Finally, a shirt that makes you look jacked, not sloppy"? The language is far more conversational and relatable. One feels really corporate, and the other connects to humans because you're using actual real human language and not marketing jargon. So for B2B marketers out there, this is a huge lesson, because just because you're selling software or services, it doesn't mean you need to sound robotic or that AI wrote everything you're putting out. And if anything, authenticity will always cut through the noise, even more in B2B, because most ads in that space are just painfully boring. So here's what you should do. Take a quick gut check on what your brand voice is. Ask yourself, does this sound like a real person talking, or does it sound like a corporate press release? And then based on the feedback that you give yourself, or you have your team or clients even give that feedback, then adjust, pivot a little bit, and try new language. Really use the language that your clients are using every day as they describe their pains and their problems and the solutions they're wanting to pull from you. Okay, now let's unpack a little bit further the playbook that turned this $500 test budget into $250 million in revenue for True Classic. So step one, find the message that works. They tested dozens of quick, scrappy ads until one really stuck. The shirt ad I mentioned earlier, that was it. Step two, pour fuel on the fire. So once they knew what resonated, they scaled their ad spend aggressively. Not tens of thousands, they put millions into it. And then step three, they repurposed endlessly. They didn't reinvent the wheel every single week. They cut, they recut, and they localized their content. They added new hooks. They spun up the same winning formula into hundreds of variations. They layered in influencers and partnerships. So instead of relying only on their voice, they collaborated with other creators and influencers out there who could echo the same relatability to their audiences. And then finally, step five, data feedback loop. So every ad was measured, it was tracked, and then it was optimized. So they didn't just guess, they knew based on what the data was telling them. There's a story in the data. So for B2B companies, that's the exact same framework. Start small, find the message, then scale it, repurpose it, and layer in trusted voices, and then let the data tell you what's next and what you should double down on and what you should maybe scrap entirely. So if you're watching this and thinking, well, we need ads like this, but we don't have the creative team or the system to pull it off, that's where we come in. At Content Supply, we help brands build scalable content systems. So you're not stuck guessing what to make next or wasting money on creative that doesn't convert. So Content Supply produces short-form ads to full-blown video campaigns. We design storytelling systems that grow with your brand without bloated budgets or broken processes. Visit contentsupply.com to start scaling your content today. Here's something that most people miss here though. True Classic's ads feel playful and effortless, but behind them is rigorous data analysis. They knew which jokes landed. They knew which lines made people click and which visuals held attention for more than 3 seconds. This is what I call the data plus narrative formula. If you lean only on story, you risk wasting money on art that doesn't convert. Then if you lean only on the data, you get robotic ads that no one cares about. But when you merge the two, that's when magic happens. The campaigns scale into hundreds of millions in sales. At Content Supply, we're doubling down on this by building an AI-powered campaign analysis tool. It shows marketing teams not just what's working, but why it's working based on data and story, so you can replicate success faster. Now, I often hear two objections here all the time from clients. They say, we have limited budgets. My response is, well, start small, repurpose relentlessly. True Classic didn't have much of a budget to start, right? They scaled one winning ad formula into hundreds of variations. And you can do the same, even shot on an iPhone, even with minimal editing. Another objection is our content isn't converting. Well, usually that means it's not connecting emotionally with the right audience. So don't just list all the features, find the relatable frustration that your audience has and the story, then dramatize it in your ads. Humor works, empathy works, authenticity works. So for B2B marketers, the lesson is clear here. You don't just assume your product is too boring for this style. The truth is, boring industries have the biggest opportunity to stand out because no one else is taking creative risk in those industries. Now let's recap on what we learned from True Classic's $250 million playbook. Emotional storytelling isn't optional, it's essential. And this has been true for hundreds and thousands of years in whatever promotion that may look like across every type of medium. Authenticity beats polish. Humor, relatability, and honesty always win. Also, test small, scale fast, and find the message, the story, and then pour fuel on that fire. Then repurpose everything. A great ad isn't one and done. It can be repurposed like crazy. Then merge data with story. That's how you scale without losing the soul of your brand and this true story behind it. Now, if you're ready to scale your own marketing with storytelling that does convert, then hit subscribe, drop a comment, and stay tuned for the next episode. because great content like video isn't just made, it's actually crafted to convert. It's intentional and it works based on data plus story. Okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.